Now, the truce between Santaco and the city of Cape Town is in danger. The Taxi Council held an urgent meeting just last night after 14 taxis were impounded over this past weekend. It says this is in contravention of an agreement that paused the Western Cape strike. But the city maintains the vehicles had violations that falls outside the agreement. eNCA reporter Nobesuthu Hejana is watching developments and joins us now to give us this update. Nobesuthu, good to have you back, colleague. And once again, just when you thought that perhaps Santaco and the Western Cape, government and the city of Cape Town can come to some sort of a truce and agreement to move forward and put the strike behind us, really, it seems there are still some looming issues. Santaco not being too happy with the fact that the impounded vehicles haven't been released yet.
Certainly, Tubelo. In fact, what actually angered Santaco is the impoundment of 14 vehicles over the past weekend, and the leadership was telling me that the impounded vehicles were actually the requirements that were used to impound those vehicles. They're not part of the NLTA Act, and they have issues with that because one of the vehicle that was impounded, one taxi was overloaded. They're saying that that does not warrant an impoundment. But just to talk more about the issues, I'm joined by Mr. eNCA. Mr. eNCA, let's reflect on the impoundments.
Yes, indeed, let me greet you and the viewers at home. 14 of our vehicles were impounded this weekend, some on Saturday, some on Sunday. But we get information from the operators that they were wrongly impounded because one of the vehicles was impounded due to the fact that the driver did not have a driver's license, of which that is not an impoundable offense. One of the vans was overloaded, and that as well is not an impoundable offense, and it's what we already agreed to, that such offenses will not warrant any impoundment. So it really surprised us. And from our thought, we think that since in fact, the law enforcement are getting instructions that they need to bring this number of vehicles, so they go all the way out to make sure that they bring such a number of vehicles as per instruction.
Let's talk about the task team, because it was meant to start yesterday, and with the statement that was issued on that Santaco media group here in the Western Cape, it was also stated that today you are also not part of that meeting. So let's talk about the reasons and maybe what is the leadership looking at currently.
We have submitted a letter to the government asking for a postponement of a task team since we are still busy sorting out certain things regarding what happened during the strike and also what happened recently about the impoundment of these vans, because some of these vans are still in the impound. So we can't be sitting in a task team and discussing about something that should have been sorted out earlier. So we are still sorting out, trying to assist the operators in order to get their vehicles back.
Let's talk about the interdict, because before that joint media briefing between Santaco, the city and the provincial mobility department, Santaco had initially said that it was going to file for an urgent application. Where are we in terms of that, since now it appears that there's a bit of mistrust between all parties?
We cannot disclose anything on that yet, but there's something that we are looking at to do. But I think by tomorrow we'll have a proper answer regarding that issue.
Let's talk about the relationship. I was speaking to your colleague earlier, and he indicated that there's some sort of differences, and it's something that you've also mentioned on Friday, that it appears that you don't see eye to eye. So are we hopeful that this task team will actually work out, and can you ensure commuters in the Western Cape that there won't be any stay away?
We are working, tirelessly to make sure that we sort out things amicable. We cannot say 100% there will not be a stay away, because it depends on the agreement that you are reaching with who you are discussing things with. Coming back to what I said on Friday, you could see, fortunately, you were at the media briefing, where you saw and you heard our MEC, Ricardo Mackenzie, stating out clearly that in the event that the driver is found under the influence, then the vehicle will be impounded. Of which, that is what we said. We cannot agree to that because we don't see that warrants an impoundment. Actually, it is defined clearly in the National Road Traffic Act that a fine should be issued in such case, and also an arrest should be effected. So they are saying that if that is done, in fact, he said so. If that is not done in other provinces, it will be done in the Western Cape. And that shocked us.
And lastly, let's talk about the statement that was issued by, a joint statement issued by the city and the provincial government, reflecting on the fact that Santaco must stop misleading its members because you agreed on what should be impoundable. And that testing is ongoing, and also that vehicles that were impounded will not be released for free.
That is a contradicting statement, taking into consideration what just happened now, whereby vehicles were impounded for non-impoundable offences. And I so wish that he was here and asked what does he say then in that regard, because vehicles are in the impound now. They were impounded this weekend, the last weekend, but those offences are not warranting those vehicles to be impounded. So that is just a contradictory statement. And I think the mayor should also stop from his side saying that we are misleading the community, because what we are saying is what we agreed upon. The impoundable offences is only 3 offences. It's when the vehicle does not have operating license, when the driver does not have driver's license, the PDP, and the roadworthy. Those are only 3 offences that we're talking about. But yet, these vehicles were impounded for such other offences that does not warrant impounding to take place.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Enge. Well, Tumelo, it appears that the relationship between Santaco, City of Cape Town, and the Provincial Mobility Department is not coming to an end, or at least we won't see any fruitful discussions, but he's saying that they are hopeful that in this task team they will be able to reach an amicable solution, but they're not putting it to bed that there might be a strike. But they are also saying that that court interdict is also on the table. You would remember initially they had mentioned that they will be seeking a court interdict. That is when JP Smith from the City of Cape Town, MMC for Safety and Security, had indicated that for any vehicle, truck that is being torched, they will impound 25 minibus taxis.
We're all fearful of that the Texas strike might once again loom because of these contradictory statements, Nobesuthu, as well as he says, she says, between the City of Cape Town and Santaco. But hopefully this will come to an end. We'll keep a close eye on those developments. And thanks to you for this update, Nobesuthu Hejana, in Cape Town.